Hey everybody, it's Kim Denny with the Inspired Designs, and today we have another string art craft kit to make our way through. If you need to grab your own, you can get it at inspired.etsy.com. That was at the very beginning of the video. Today we are going to turn this into this. So we have this really fun coffee or cocoa or tea mug with a little steamy heart on top. We are going to go ahead and get this done. So I paint all the wood for you. I put the nails in and add the twine. So when you get your kit, it looks just like this. Plus you get your string colors that you chose with the kit. And the only other things that you'll need will be a small pair of scissors, a little bit of super glue if you have it, and something with a blunt edge like a Sharpie or a pen or even a little dowel rod that you can push string down into tight spots if you need it. Other than that, everything you have is right in your kit. So let's hop on over to the crafting table and get started. And here we are at the crafting table where we're going to turn this into this. So you can see I used some green and gold for my colors, and for today's project, I decided I'm going to make a cocoa or a latte. So I'm using lighter tan. I'm going to use red and green so we can make it Christmassy, and a little bit of white for the steam. I have the tools that I recommended that you grab. You could set those aside for the moment. I've got my cup of tea, so grab some tea or coffee or wine, whatever you like. Put some music or a movie on. And remember, the length of this video is not representative of the length of the time that it may take you to do this project. You might want to pause it or rewind it or take a break, stretch your hands, so it might take you a little bit longer. I've also been stringing for quite a while, so I'm kind of fast with it. But it's not anything that you have to, worry about the timing. So we're going to start with the drink part. So grab your brown string, and we're going to tie it on here. We're looking for this inner oval inside the cup, and that's going to represent our drink. So just tie it onto a nail by just tying around it twice, and then look for the inner oval. That's where we're going to be working. So we just tied that string around that nail there. Tied it twice so it's a knot so it'll hang on. Now go ahead and outline the section. Go underneath the nails and then go over top of them. And that will help you see the section that we want to be working in. So it's just this oval shape that we're going to start in. And to start stringing, you just very randomly go from nail to nail in all different directions. You might make some long lines. You might make some short lines, horizontal, vertical. Think of it as having... Oops, my thread is popping off a little bit here. If that happens, slow down. Sometimes I go too fast. And sometimes you might want to loop-de-loop. So you might want to loop all the way around a nail rather than just going around the edge of it. And that'll help it hang on a little bit better. So think of it here as if you had a crayon in your hand and you're just scribbling in to fill in the space. You can go in all different directions. So that's our first layer. Now go ahead. It's okay if we miss a nail or if we go over one nail twice or a couple nails twice. This is our first layer. We're going to do 4 or 5 layers here. So press this down gently. We're going to press it all the way against the board and then go ahead and outline again. I like to outline in between each layer. It gives it a nice border around the edge. And now you're going to create your second layer by making some different lines. So just kind of look at what you did and try to fill in some of the spaces that need filled in. That's number 2. Press that down again. Outline the shape. And start layer 3. Now, don't overthink this. Kids do really well with string art because they don't overthink it. They just kind of go. And a lot of adults have some perfectionism issues, or they're worried about doing it right or wrong. There really are no rules, so just go for it. Press this level down again, outline it, and start layer number 4. This is where you're going to be able to start seeing if you have some gaps that need filled in. You want to kind of keep it consistent across it, so that the density is about the same in the whole shape. And that looks good, so we're going to press down, outline again, and start on layer number 5. Remember to go ahead and pause the video whenever you need to, or feel free to rewind. But we're not going to be making exactly the same lines, so don't worry about going from the exact same nail that I am. You know, don't try to follow any kind of pattern here. Once you're done with your 5th layer, hold it back a little bit or prop it up and step back. You'll be able to see if there's any areas that need a little bit more attention. But you can see this looks pretty consistent across, so I'm happy with it. So now we're going to finish off. We're going to go back to that original nail that we tied onto in the beginning. Loop-de-loop around it, which just means you go around it once or twice. Cut a nice long tail. Don't leave your tail short because then it's hard to tie, and that gets a little bit frustrating. Tie the 2 strings together, so your original string and the string that you just cut. Go ahead and tie them together twice to make a knot. Get it as close to that nail as you can. And press down your layers again. And that's it. Our first section is done. We're going to grab a little bit of super glue here and just put it on that knot. Since we're going to be building on top of this section, we're going to trim this now. And my super glue really isn't working very well here, so I'm not putting a ton on. You just seriously need 1 drop. It's just not really coming out. Okay, and then trim that as close as you can. And voila! You successfully completed your first section. The next section we're going to do is down here. It's the inset of the saucer. And you'll see on my original one, I did the inset gold. It's pressed down against the wood, so it gives us some 3-dimensional effect. The green is up higher, and then for the mug, I did a mix of green and gold. So it kind of tied it together. So choose what color you're going to do the inside of your saucer. Today I'm going to do mine green. And just go ahead and tie onto any nail in this middle row of nails. Tie it twice around there so it holds on nicely for you. And now we're going to outline this section. And just bear with me 1 second, because when I first did this, I did it wrong, so don't do yours yet. Just wait a second. Yeah, I'm human, and you know. Oh no, I didn't do this section wrong. Sorry, let's back up. Go ahead and do that. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That takes us up to the teacup. 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. And then we start curving back down, 18. So it is this section. So ignore what I said about being wrong. I was wrong when I said I was wrong. We're all human, right? Okay, so we're just going to do as we did before and start creating our random layers. And each section that you work is going to be a little bit different since the shape is different. So you'll be learning how to create new lines and figure things out as you go. Go ahead and press that down. Start layer 2 by doing your outline. And we're just coming underneath those nails in the top curve so it hangs on there. And just start creating some new lines. I haven't found a way yet to video where my hand is completely out of the way, so I hope you bear with me. I try to give you the best view I can. Alright, that's row 2. Press that down. And you can make yours, I have a little bit of fuzz in here, you can make yours as sparse or dense as you would like. So you kind of just go to whatever your eye likes. I just have found that my eye likes about 5 layers. So here we go for layer, I think we're on 3 here. And each time we're trying to create some different lines, which means just go to a different nail than you previously did. And you'll see the lines as you work your project. Now we're going to start 4 by doing our outline. And come down and start layer number 4. And when you get to layers 4 and 5, that's the time you really want to kind of look to see if you've got any gaping holes or one side is denser than the other. You need to give a little bit of attention to, one side more than the other. If you have a hard time getting your finger in these smaller spaces, that's when the end of the Sharpie or a little dowel rod or a little tool will come in handy. Just gently push it down. And now, layer number 5. Outline it. And start going. If your thread keeps popping off your nails, you might want to press down the layers that you've already worked a little bit more. Here we're going to go back to the nail that we started on, loop-de-loop around it, cut that nice long tail, and tie those two together. Press down. And there you go. Make sure you tie it nice and tight. And once again, we're going to be building on top of this, so we're going to get our super glue again and trim these ends. A lot of times I just leave all the ends till the end, but since we'll be going over this section with another color, we won't be able to get to this. So, little drop of super glue. Get your scissors, and as you trim, get as close as you can to that knot without cutting any important strings. If you do cut any important ones, just grab your super glue again and try and glue them onto another string or onto a nail. Now we're going to do the outer part of the saucer, and I'm going to do mine red. The green will be down close to the board. The red will be up higher, so we've got some dimension. Go ahead and tie on to any nail here. And this is the part where don't outline just yet, because I do this wrong first and then go back and do it right, so just hang on 1 second. Don't do this part. You could, it wouldn't be tragic, because that is going to end up getting outlined red when we do the cup itself, but just hang on for 1 second. Now I realize, hey, I did something wrong. Let's back this train up, and yeah. That's where I'm realizing, wait. We're doing this outer section here. We're going to fill in between here. What did I do wrong? I didn't bring the red down to where it should be. Hang on. Here we go. Okay, back up. Thanks for bearing with me during that time. And now we're going to do it correctly. So grab your string, it's tied on, and here we go. Go ahead and swoop under these nails on the bottom. Curve up along the side. Hook on to the teacup, and then you're going back around the green part. So this is the section we're going to be working. Now we got it right. We're going to fill all in here. Once again, doing our 5 layers, outlining in between each one, taking time to create some different lines. And you might need to push down as you go. Since the red is being built on top of the green, you have a little bit less space to work in, so just make sure that that green is pressed down. And once again, touch on each nail about 1 time, but if you hit a nail more than once or you miss a nail on a layer, it's not a problem. Alright, so that's our first layer. We're going to press this down a little bit because we're going to need some room to work. But for the most part, we're going to leave this section close to the top of the nails. And now our second layer begins. Outline again. And here we go. So if you're loving these projects, you can find more string art projects on my Etsy page, which is yinspired.etsy.com. It's a the very beginning and the very end of this video. If you need the spelling of that, it's also in the description of the video. You can find the link there. I will have some new designs coming out each month throughout 2019. Press that down, go ahead and outline again. And this time I'm outlining the other direction, it doesn't matter. And start the next layer. This is layer 3, I believe. I also appreciate it if you follow along on Facebook and Instagram. You can find me under Yinspired. And I am just an independent artist. A lot of people ask, what company is this? Because I actually do home parties with these projects. And it's not a company. It's just me at home in my garage hammering nails into boards and creating some fun things. So I definitely appreciate the community that we're building of people who want to learn how to make things and have some fun. Now we're going to start layer 4. And of course, I always appreciate if you want to share these videos or my social media pages or Etsy page with any of your friends, because referrals really do go a long way. So I thank you for that in advance. Alright, and I think we're starting our final outline here, pressing down a little bit more just to give us some room to work. Oh, now see, I have a string here that I got on the wrong side, so see how it's covering over the green? So just take a minute and pop that over if you can, and get it to where it belongs, and that way you don't have to take everything off. Sometimes you have enough give that you can just stretch it over. Here we go for layer 5. Last one for this section, and then I'm going to show you how to do a little border around the edging here. The other two we did not put a border on because we are covering over their edging, but since the red is one of our topmost layers, we are going to put a border around it just to give it a nice clean finished look. So here on this layer 5, we're really just filling in any spots that we feel need an extra piece of string. Whoop! If your string keeps popping off, remember to press down a little bit to give yourself some room to work. And doing a loop-de-loop over the nails helps too. If you keep popping off a lot, that'll kind of hold it on a little tighter for you. Okay, so remember to take a step back or hold it back to see if you like how it looks. I'm happy with mine. And now we're going to create this border that I was mentioning. So you can see how it's a little bit of a bold line around the edging. So we create that just by looping around 2 nails. So I just looped around this first and second nail, then go up to the next nail and loop back. So now I just looped the second and third nail together. And now I'll go up to the next one and loop back. So now the third and fourth one are together, and just continue that journey all the way around. When we get to the inside curve, I'll show you a little technique for holding on to the nails so your lines stay close to the piece. You can complete this border just one time around. I like to do mine twice to make it a little bit thicker. So as we're going around the inside now, I'll loop-de-loop around those first 2, but now if I would just go up to, let me see how I can show you this. If I would just go up to the third nail, it would pull away from the piece because we're on an inside curve. So see how that string pulls away? I already looped the first 2. If I go to the third, it pulls away. So go to the second, loop-de-loop around that one, then go to the third, and come back to loop the second and third together. Same on the next one. We're going to loop-de-loop around the one we were just on, go up to the next one, and come back. So whenever you're on an inside curve, you're going to need to do that. Loop around 2, then loop to loop, then loop around the next 2, then loop to loop. I hope that makes sense. Loop to loop is a very technical term. If you want to have some fun while you're doing string art, pour yourself a glass of wine or your favorite beverage, and every time I say loop to loop, take a little sip. It'll make the night a lot more fun. Okay, so now we're back over here. We need to do the same thing. So we loop to loop around that one, loop the 2 together, loop to loop, loop the next 2 together. That's one time all the way around. You can stop there if you want. I like to go for 2, so I'm going to go and make my way around one more time. You might need to push down a little bit just to give yourself some room to work, because it does start to get pretty crowded up toward the top of the nails. And if you leave it too crowded, it just causes frustration. So go ahead and press that down as needed. Making our way around here. If you have any kids in your life or tweens that may like to do a mini project, in my Etsy shop I have 7-inch tall cutout figures. They're wooden figures. So right now I have like an elephant and an ice cream cone and a mermaid tail. There's a T-Rex and a brontosaurus, and I will be adding more. But they're already painted and they have the nails in them. And then you get pre-selected colors with those that are on a little color card or string card. And they're super easy because they don't have to be worked in sections like this. Except for the ice cream cone, there's the cone and then the ice cream. But the rest of them, the kids just tie on, and they have several different colors, but they just create layers of color over the whole piece, so it's nice and easy. So we can come back down around the edge here because we're at the end. We could go down to where our original nail was, but I'm just going to tie off up here. So I'm going to clip it, and I'm going to show you how to tie when you are not near your original starting piece. So to tie a knot anywhere, just take it and put it over top of the nail head. So we're just creating kind of a loop here with our other hand. With my left hand, I've got the tail going up, and then I'm pulling it through the loop with my right hand. Hold that in place, and your knot will tie right around the nail head there. So do that one more time to make a knot. So you're taking the tail up around the nail head and then through the loop. And there you've got a nice finished knot. So we'll take care of those ends at the end. But you'll see here that the red is now up higher and the green is sitting lower. So it gives you that nice border. It gives you a nice three-dimensional effect. And it really adds some nice dimensions. So next we're going to do the mug itself. And I'm going to do a combo of both red and green for the mug to make it look a little bit festive. I'm just grabbing a little bit more red here because my bobbins did not have much on it. So grab your main mug color, and you're going to need to press down just on these because we're going to be working over top of them, and you've got a lot of string on there now. Go ahead and tie on. And then grab your working piece and let's outline the mug. So we're going down around the curve here. We're going over top of where we already have some green. We're going to go up to this one nail right above where our saucer stopped and loop around that one and then go out to get the handle. And then you'll get back to the mug and you can loop around that one and then go up over top of the mug and down the side. So this is our complete outline here. we are going to outline the coffee area and this little handle area. You don't want a string inside this hole. You want to leave that open so that you can see straight through to the wood. You don't want any string going over that area. So this area will feel a little bit different to you because it's a little bit bigger. We're still going to do those 4 or 5 layers and outline each time. The bigger areas sometimes work up quicker. And here I'm going to outline the handle just so I have a visual on that. And then remember to stay outside of the middle of it, but do fill in the handle itself. And when I say fill in, I like to be able to see the wood through the string because I think that gives it nice texture and dimension. I think if we wanted things to be solid, we'd probably be working with fabric instead of string. So you don't need to go super heavy on all your layers. I do have some people at parties who like that look, and that's perfectly fine. It's your project, so you are the one in control of how it looks. But just as my recommendation, it's good to see a little bit of the wood through the string. So here we're hooking on to the nails where our drink originated so that we can fill in all the sections of the mug. We're not going to cross over that brown section where the drink was. We're only going around it. So this is basically our first layer. And you can see I have a big hole there on the left, but it doesn't matter because we're going to make 4 more layers on top of it, so that will start getting filled in. So go ahead and press down just a bit. This is going to stay up higher because we're on these other sections that already have so much thread. So you're not going to get it pressed all the way down, but you know, go ahead and press it down a bit. So now we're starting layer 2 out of our 5. Outline the mug once again. Start creating some different lines than what you created before. And if you've got the hang of this and you feel like you want to fast forward a bit, that's perfectly fine, you can. But for layer 4, I'm going to change colors in this section and then go back to red for layer 5. So if you want to see that, hang in here for a minute with me. Or fast forward until you see me grab the green thread. That's what I love about a video on YouTube, is that you can be in control, go back to it as many times as you need, and use it in whatever way works best for you. So here we're outlining again. Getting ready to make layer 3. I would love to see your finished project or your work in progress. If you want to share that with us, please do on the Facebook page, which is Yinspired, Y-I-N-Z-P-I-R-E-D. I love to see the creativity of different color combinations together. Some people end up embellishing their wood on some of these projects. We did snowmen, and I had people actually glue little plastic snowflakes on. I've glued some gems to some of my boards to give it a little bit of bling. I had one girl on the Christmas tree truck. She decoupaged some scrapbooking paper to the back and made it look like it was plaid, like a plaid background. So definitely, if you're getting creative with these, or even if you're just making them just as I am, please share your finished pictures. So here we go. I did 3 layers. Now I'm stopping the red. So here I'm cutting the red, tying it off to one of the original strings. Whoop! Need to loop that around that nail a little bit better. And then I'm going to grab the green because I want a little bit of layer of green in here to give it a bit of a marbled look. tie the green on. Push down if you need some extra room. And go ahead and do your outline. And on this one, I just outlined the inside of the handle while I was over in this section too. And then went back up and outlined around the drink itself. So this is actually my fourth layer on here. It's just with a different color. And so I'm going to just do it the same way that I did before, just very random, creating some new lines over top of the red. There's no right or wrong way to do this at all. And it is a good idea to stop every so often and kind of check your work, because if by chance you crossed over into that hole on the handle, it's a lot easier to fix it if you kind of check every layer rather than wait until the very end and then it's kind of buried and you're stuck. So after every layer, it's a good idea to just kind of take a step back and take a look at the picture as a whole. Okay, so I'm going to work now to get this top section here up around the top of the drink. Alright, so then I'll pull the green back over to the nail where I started, loop to loop. You know this routine by now. Leave a nice long tail, snip it, and tie them together. And then I'm going to finish this off with one more layer of red because I wanted my mug to look mostly red, and I think having that on the top is the look that I'm going for. So here we go again with some red. And after we do this red, we're going to do that border all the way around the mug, all the way around the handle, and around the drink. So if you have the hang of this and you're like, Kim, I got it, I want to fast forward, or I want to pause and just do my own, then feel free to do that. And then just come back in a little bit and fast forward to where we're going to do the steamy heart up top so you can see how to outline that. So this is the fifth layer here of random lines being drawn. When I get these boards, they're just unfinished wood, and then I go ahead and paint them and drill all the holes and put the nails in for you. So I do all the dirty work here. And you get to do the fun of the stringing. I hope that you find this is fun. If not, you can always hand this project off to someone else who's crafty in your life and say, here, finish this for me. But I hope you're enjoying it. Some people kind of really zen out during the stringing process. Other people I know get a little bit more frustrated until they kind of learn it, and then they can kind of relax a little bit. But if you kind of let your mind go, it does get you into a nice, almost meditative state after a while. All right, so I think we're close here with this layer. Remember, with that last layer, you really want to look and make sure it looks the way that you want it to. Hold it back, take a step back. I'm happy with this. I think it looks really cute. And it always looks better in person than it does on here. Now we're going to do the two looping all the way around all the sections. The two looping two nails together. what I was saying is the projects always look better in person than they do in the photos or the video. It is so hard to capture the texture and the dimension and the true color of everything on film or video. I also crochet a lot, and every time I try to take a picture for my crochet designs and patterns, it's really hard to capture a good picture because the camera just picks up string and fiber and yarn so strangely. Anyway, we're just doing the border. Once again, if you have this process down pat and you want to fast forward, feel free. If you like watching it, hang out with me then and we'll do it together. I should have Christmas carols playing in the background to entertain us while these quiet parts are happening, huh? Alright, this is one time around, and now I'm going to do the second. Here we go. Working in these tiny spots like around this handle can get a little tough, so take your time. If you get frustrated doing this, seriously, I always tell people at my parties, my home parties, take a break, go get a snack, have a drink, stand up, walk away. And a lot of times, if you're not happy with the way your project looks, simply by walking away and not looking at it for a few minutes and coming back to it, you'll have a whole new perspective. Or the trick is to have it held a few feet away from you or prop it up, on a countertop and then stand way back, and you'll have a whole new appreciation for it, because sometimes your eyes just get a little buggy looking at all of these lines and nails after a while. And so if you find that happening, just take a break. It's also good to stretch your hands. Alright, so now I didn't outline around the drink yet, so I'm just going to take my string right up there and start my looping two nails process all the way around the drink. So we also have the border on that, because you don't want to forget to define that section of the mug. So that's one time around, and well, that's one time around, I guess, officially right here. Alright, and now we'll go push down a little bit, give us some room to work. And go for round number 2. Alright, here we go. It always feels so exciting to finish a section. I feel like you've accomplished something. Alright, so that's the end of that. We're just going to take the string back down to where we started. Loop to loop. Press down so it hangs on. Cut that long tail.
tie those strings together. Grab one of the original strings. There we go. Tie it twice. And ta-da! We now have a coffee mug or teacup or cocoa mug, latte, whatever you would like. Looks good. Now we're going to do the steamy heart here. So it's worked in two sections, the right side and the left side. We're going to start with the left side, and you're going to see it comes to a point right on the mug. That's the middle. And we're going to start on that one and the nail right below it. So you can see those two actually overlap the mug. So grab your white. Tie on. And we're going to start outlining. So hang on one second. I move my hand out of the way and show you this in 1 second because I get it wrong at first and then I go back and do it. So that's the wrong way. Let's take that back off. Okay, here we go. So you're going to go on these nails to the one just above the one that's on the teacup. So just above that one, to the left, above and to the left. So go right from that one down to the second one and then back up to that top middle one. And then you're just going to start tracing the nails that are on the left here. And you can pause the video so that you can see exactly which ones. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 here, then down, then back to the top of the mug, and then start coming up to the left, and then we're going to curve. And this is why video is so great, because you can actually see it and you can pause it to see exactly what's going on here, and then around the side. So it's a half a heart basically. Kind of looks almost like a backwards question mark. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 nails in this sequence. So if you've got 20 nails, you know you're in good shape. We're going to do our 5 layers, outlining each one. Take your time because these little sections can be a little cumbersome. You think they would get done so quickly, but sometimes I think the little sections are harder than the bigs. And remember to check as you're doing each layer to make sure that you didn't cross outside of your lines, because you don't want to have to take everything back off. If you have to take one layer off, it's not so bad. If you have to take all 5 off to try and fix something, it's a little more frustrating. So go ahead and outline. And start layer 2. And if it gets tough to hang on, remember, try and push them down as much as you can. It's getting a little thick over top of where the 2 are on the teacup or the coffee mug. So push those down a bit. Whoop! I'm losing my project. Here we go. Usually I work with it flat on the table, but for these videos I try to prop it up so you can see it a little bit better. So it's a little tricky for me, but we'll get it. I'm also stringing left-handed right now, so that's a little tricky as well. Just to try and hopefully let you see a little bit better rather than my right hand totally covering everything. Alright, outline again. Start the next layer. Oh, now my right hand's covering everything, but you know what I'm doing. Just randomly filling in. You'll be dreaming about this in your sleep tonight. press down a bit. Outline again. Complete the next layer. And here we go. We're going to start the looping every 2. So we'll just go around the whole section twice again. Remember, on those inside curves, you're going to need to loop around 2, then loop to loop around the second one, and then loop around that one in the next one. And I'll try to show you that, I think, as we get up here to the inside curve. And we're so close to being done. We're in the home stretch. This is getting very exciting. So as we're here, now if I would just go to the next one, it would pull away from the project, and we don't want that to happen. So loop to loop around the front there, and then go up to the next one, and then loop. And then my hand is totally out of shot. But you know what I'm doing. You're a pro at this by now, right? I'm going to go around the top here. That completes our first time around. If you like it, stop there. If you want to do the second one, push things down a little bit to give you a little bit of room. And go. Alright, now we've got the left side of our heart all done. I'm not going to go back to the original string. I'm just going to loop around here and cut and do that tying technique that I showed you before. So you go over the top of the nail head and pull that tail through the loop, and then do it again over the top of the nail head and pull the tail through your loop. And now we're going to do the right side, and then we are done. So we're so close. Let me show you how to outline this. And I think this will be just too cute hanging in a little coffee nook section of the kitchen, or by your tea caddy. So here's the next section. If you can see all the nails there that get outlined. And once again, here we go. 5 layers, outline between each one. And for this one, I'm going to push the string all the way down to the board. Once again, just to give our eye a little bit of that 3-dimensional effect that looks so nice. It really gives a lot of depth and dimension to the project, which, like I said before, it's really hard to capture on video or in a photograph. So I'm thinking you'll be even more pleasantly surprised as you're making your project than you thought you might be. If you're trying this project and you decide, hey, I love the way these look, but I am not the person to be doing these, you can always ask, and as long as time permits and I'm not too overwhelmed with projects, I do string projects and send them out already completed as well. So feel free to shoot me a message about that through the Facebook page. And in case you didn't hear me say it before, I definitely love for you to follow along on Facebook or Instagram. Just find me under Yinzspired, YINZPIRED, and tell your friends too who loved handmade items or crafty projects. It's the best way to stay in touch, see what's new. Sometimes I have contests and fun things on there as well. And a lot of times when I make something, I will put it available first to the Facebook or Instagram community before putting it on Etsy. Okay, so take a look back, make sure they're about even, and if they are, start your looping around every 2 border. This section's nice and fast because it's little. Like I said, I usually have my project just laying flat on the table or on my lap while I'm watching TV. So here I'm doing it kind of sideways towards the camera, propped up. So I appreciate you bearing with me. On these inside curves, remember you'll loop around 2 and then loop to loop and then go around the next 2. Loop around 2, loop to loop around the first one, and then go around. And then when you get back to where you started, cut that nice long tail, tie it off, and get ready because we're about to celebrate. Ta-da! Here it is. I think I'm calling this one a Christmas latte. Get your super glue again. Go ahead and just put a little drop. Oh, it's coming out better now. I was glad. Put a little drop on each knot. And then give them a second to dry before you cut them, or else your scissors will stick together. So I hope you enjoyed this project. I hope you'll share it with your friends. Feel free to subscribe to the YouTube channel here so that you see whatever's coming next. After you're done gluing, grab those scissors and once again carefully cut as close as you can without cutting any important strings. If you do cut a string that is supposed to be attached, just grab your super glue again and touch it up against the closest nail or another piece of string and it should hold on just fine for you. And once you take off all those loose ends, you really see how nice the project looks. So here it is, guys. We did it. We can hang that right on the wall, prop it against the shelf, whatever you'd like to do. But super cute handmade decoration. Perfect for any coffee lover. Thanks so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you being here. You can find some of my other projects like the Relaxed Bathtub, the Lovebirds photo hanger. I have some Christmas items on my Etsy and more will be coming as we go. So thanks a lot, guys. Bye-bye.